Welcome back, everybody. We're here to pull cards for what month? September 13th. I think I've been messing up the month for the last several days. So hopefully this time I got it right. All right, so September 13th, I am going to be pulling one card for overall energy, and after that we're going to be pulling one card for each sign, and then we're going to see how those energies meld together. So, bum ba da bum bum bum. Okay, overall energy for the day that's influencing everybody is the Ten of Cups. We like it. Oh, happiness, happiness, satisfaction, security, coming to a new level of happiness. Maybe even getting ready to set new goals about happiness once we get to that level. So, very nice. Let's see how this plays out with everybody. Hopefully it works out that we get some nice combinations. Why doesn't this look straight at all? Could my camera be twisted? Imagine that. Imagine that. Okay, here we go. Aries. King of Swords showing up here. This is something that I think this is something that very logically makes you happy. I think whatever is going on today is making you happy in a very logical, I don't know if I want to say platonic kind of way. That's not exactly the word I'm looking for, but in a very stable kind of way. We're not talking about ecstasy or joy so much here as we're talking about whatever's going on that makes you happy is kind of like the next step in the progression of something. You've reached the next step in the progression of something. And I think that you've been kind of moving towards this for such a long time that in the beginning, just the thought of it, made you really ecstatic and happy and kind of over the moon. But now you've been working, just walking towards this for a while. And so it's just the next step in the progression. So I think you guys, Aries, already have new goals set for, okay, what's the next level of things that I'm going to do that's going to make me happy? Okay. So let's see about Taurus. Five of batons showing up in reverse. Do, 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 do. Taurus, I think that there's something going on where you may have found yourself in some type of competitive situation, and I feel like this competitive situation may have been going on, for more than a day or two. I'm not going to say for years and years and years for most of you, but I will say that I think for all of you, this competitive situation went on for more than a day or two, maybe even a couple of months. But the competitive situation, we see that coming to an end. You're not feeling like you have to compete with others right now. And that is making you happy with the Ten of Cups. It's just, this can come in a couple of ways. This can be that you're not involved in a situation that makes you feel like you have to compete anymore, and there's that relief, that happiness of that. Or this can be that you've gotten to a point that nobody really can hold a candle to you. So, excuse me. So there's not really any more competition around because you've kind of eliminated them by outshining them. So that could be going on too. But either way, I do feel like there's this sense of relief that shows up and happiness that shows up once you realize that you're no longer in a competition, whichever way it is that you're not in it. Now, Gemini. Okay, so Geminis, you guys have the 10 of coins coming up in reverse. What's going on here? Interesting. So Geminis, you guys are doing something that helps to improve your sense of stability or security in your life today. And this is something that is going to make you happy. In fact, it may even be something that you celebrate. So how do we improve our sense of security or stability? That can be through upgrading a relationship, upgrading a home, getting a job, getting a promotion, um, getting an inheritance sometimes. So anything that makes you feel more secure and more stable can fall into this, but you're upgrading your sense of security and stability. And with that Ten of Cups, it's bringing you happiness and satisfaction, and also making you ready to reset the goal for what's the next new dream you're going to go for. All right, so Ba-ba-da, that was Gemini. We're looking at Cancer now. The Hierophant showing up in reverse. Hierophant in reverse for Geminis. What do we have here? Ha! So, Geminis, you guys are getting out of some type of contract or agreement. This would have been a more long-term contract or agreement, and this is making you very happy. So, some of you could literally be getting a divorce the way this shows on the table, and that could be a very happiness-making situation for you. Some of you could be paying off your home, and so you're no longer in a contract for a mortgage. Same thing, vehicle. You could be getting out of some type of employment contract or agreement, but some type of long-term contract or agreement you are releasing yourself from today in one way or the other, and that is making you very happy. All right, so who is that? That was for Cancers. Next up, we're going to look at Leo. Leo, Leo, Leo. Okay, Leo, what's going on here? This is interesting, Leo, is how this is coming in because it's way, way, way different than normal. You basically have the Emperor showing up in reverse. And for me, this normally is somebody that's showing as my narcissistic type personality. I'm getting a little bit of a different reading today. This is somebody who you have held very dear to you for a long time. And they may have been like a love interest or a romantic partner. Doesn't have to be, but definitely there's somebody close, there's somebody that's dear to you, and they're no longer what I call on the throne of your heart anymore. So for me, if the Emperor or the Empress comes in right side up, this is somebody who they have our heart, or at least they have, a noticeable chunk of our heart. They have some, we have some feelings towards them. What's interesting about this, and this is Leo's, right? What's interesting about this, Leo's, is that there's somebody here who used to have a very noticeable chunk of your heart that you're finding out today, yeah, I don't really have those feelings for that person anymore, whether it's romantic or otherwise. I just don't have those strong, loving or affectionate feelings towards this person anymore. And with the Ten of Cups, I think that you're finding that this is actually something that's making you happy. So having those feelings had kind of put you in a situation that was awkward or anxious. Now that you're realizing you don't have those feelings, there's that happiness, that relief that shows up for you there. Very interesting. Next, we're going to look at Virgo. Virgo, Queen of Cups, showing up with the Ten of Cups. Virgos, I do think there's somebody in your experience who is highly empathic, very sensitive to the feelings of others, very aware of her own feelings, very much, or has very much able to talk about feelings and how they impact decisions and just life in general. And somebody who is naturally a nurturer and encourager, somebody who lifts people up. You have somebody like this in your life today, and you're doing something that makes them very happy. Whether you're doing it intentionally or not is hard for me to tell just from these two cards, but either way, you're doing something to make them happy. All right, now let's look at who? Let's look at Libra. Libra, Libra, Libra. Okay, Seven of Coins, Libra. What do we have here? Payday. Payday makes you happy. Somebody is giving you some money today, Libra, and it is making you happy. That was pretty cut and dried. All right, let's look at Scorpio. Scorpio. Three of Cups in reverse with that Ten of Cups. Healing from some kind of heartache or heartbreak, and that healing is making you happy, happy, happy. All right, we like that. We'll take it. Healing's always a good thing, right? Next up, let's look at Sagittarius. Sagittarius, Two of Pentacles showing up here. You've got a lot going on today, and I feel like even though there's a whole lot on your plate, may feel pretty hectic to you, I think that you're happy to be doing it all. There's nothing that you're resenting or wishing that you did not have to do showing up here. All right, let's look at Capricorn for the 13th Capricorn. All right, so Capricorns, what's going on? Some type of change. You basically have the Death card coming up in reverse. It's interesting that the Death card in reverse shows up with the Ten of Cups. What's going on there? That's an interesting combination. What's happening there? Da 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 da. Why would that make somebody happy? Death card is not your card, it's the Scorpio card. All right, so Death card talks to me about this idea that there is some kind of change that if you would make it in your life, it would make things run smoother. And you know that it would, at least in a particular area of your life. When this card comes up in reverse, this talks about the idea of resisting that change because you're afraid of what's going to happen in the other areas of your life if you make this change in the one area. You know it's going to be big. You know it's going to affect a lot of things. You just don't exactly know how and how you're going to like that. And so we see you resisting making any kind of change there. I find that interesting because that it comes up with the Ten of Cups, because the advice on that card is always, if you can embrace this change, you actually get out of this awkward space and into a space where you can follow your particular calling much more quickly, easily, happily than what you can right now with less resistance. So to me, it's always a good thing to embrace this change and move into it as quickly as you can. I think what's going on here is you're not doing that. You're resisting making this change. And I think you're taking a fair amount of glee from the idea that you're able to pull off not making this change in spite of pressures around you, shall we say? Pressures around you. I mean, it feels to me like you're feeling like, okay, so I think somebody is pressuring you to make this change. And I think because somebody is pressuring you to make it, you're not taking a good look at it yourself. And you're just saying, nope, don't want to do it. Because you've got somebody outside of you trying to tell you to do this. And I think that by resisting doing whatever this change is, you're taking a certain amount of glee out of that. For you, it feels like, oh, I've won. I've won. I don't have to make that change. I figured out a way to circumvent making that change. I've won. And I feel like that makes you happy. This concerns me when I see this combination because, yes, in some ways you have dodged a bullet because you've outsmarted this other person, and nobody likes to be controlled. I'm Scorpio, I totally get that. Nobody likes to be controlled. I like to be in control, but I don't like to be controlled. So I get that feeling. I understand that. The thing is, the idea that somebody else is trying to push you into making this change is taking your eye really off the ball here. It's taking your eye off the idea of what would this change actually do for me, and what do I think about making this change, and you're just automatically like resisting this person because that feels like the right thing to do, and what you're focused on now is this person and the guff that they're giving you, instead of the bigger issue of what is the change that would benefit me if I would make it. You're just focused on resisting somebody who is coming across in probably a pretty unpleasant way. So this would be a good day to pay attention to, how you're reacting to others. I think that your reactions are pretty normal, but you also want to pay attention to what is that accomplishing for you, especially in some very particular situations that come up today, so that you can, do some work to actually make some changes that are better for you, whether this other person is pushing them or not. Okay. I do find that when other people push a change in us, usually there's some kind of string attached. Like, once you make this change, then you will be, or then you will do this other thing that I want you to be, or I want you to do. So I don't think really we should ever make changes because somebody else wants us to. But at the same time, we don't want to resist that to the point that we're resisting something that is positive for us. So interesting things to weigh out there for you today, Capricorn. Pretty deep read for y'all. Let's look at Aquarius. All right, so Aquarius, Five of Cups, coming up in reverse. I like it. It looks like what you're doing is you're letting something go. You're forgiving something. You're not holding, you're letting go of a grudge, of hurt, of anger. And this doesn't mean you're going to let somebody do the same thing to you over again. You can let go of those grudges and still keep some boundaries. A lot of people don't realize that or don't know how to make that work, but you can do that. And so I do see you letting go of some old negative emotions around something that happened in the past. And I feel like letting go of those is actually bringing a lightening of the load and some relief and some peace to you much more quickly than I think you thought it would. Interesting card there, Aquarius. Next up, we're looking at Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. Seven of Batons showing up in reverse. Pisces, I think that you are letting your guard down a little bit. You're opening up to the idea of talking to somebody about the things that are important to you that maybe you haven't really talked about with people before. And that is bringing you some relief, some happiness, maybe even some joy. I am picking up some joy from letting down your guard today. Okay, so thank you guys very much for being here. If you find that this video was helpful for you, please go ahead and put a thumbs up on the video and share it with somebody else it might be helpful for as well. And of course, put comments down below. I'm really curious about how this is all playing out for you guys. And also, I would be honored to work with some of you personally later on today. And the rest of you, I'll see back on the next video. Peace out.